Have you ever wondered why your ambition has deep, your confidence has shifted, and your energy isn't as it used to be when you were younger? You've even started to question yourself. This isn't a discipline issue. It's not even a motivation issue. It's a hormonal issue. And in today's video, I'm going to explain how your hormones are impacting your earning capacity and what you need to do to shift that right now. And if you're a woman over 40, then this is a conversation that is so important for us to have. By the end of this video, you're going to understand how your hormones are affecting your income and what you need to do to protect and increase your earning capacity. And if you care about your financial independence, career longevity, and building wealth intentionally, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel because I share real drivers to increasing your earning capacity, not just tactics, but information on biology, physiology, and strategy to help you increase your earning capacity. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand how your hormones are affecting your income and what you need to do to protect and increase your earning power. And if you care about financial independence, career longevity, building wealth intentionally, then I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel because on my channel, I share real drivers that increase your earning capacity, not just static, but biology, physiology, and strategy to help you feel more empowered when it comes to creating more wealth. My name is Victoria Honey, and I help ambitious women just like you who are navigating perimenopause alongside clarity, confidence, and earning capacity with the tools and resources they need to thrive through perimenopause. So what are hormones and how do they impact us at work? Hormones are chemical messengers in the body that flow through the bloodstream and tell the body or the system what it needs to do. They control our mood, our stress response, our motivation, our metabolism, our sleep, our cognition, and it influence how sharp, confident, and resilient we are at work. And our hormones changes daily for a lot of us. And if it impacts our confidence, our stress tolerance, our energy, then it will definitely affect us professionally. So learning about your hormones is not about biology, learning about biology. It's literally having this, performance literacy because it's so important that you understand how your hormones is impacting you. So it's not we're not holding a biology class here. I'm just giving you the tools and knowledge that you need to equip yourself to show up brilliantly at your workplace as well as your business. When it comes to our hormones, it affects a lot of things. It affects our performance, how we focus and execute and get results on a project. It affects our leadership skills. How do we command a room? How do we speak up? How do we negotiate in our power? When it comes to strategic thinking, how do we prioritize tasks? How do we assess risk? How do we take actions on bold projects? When it comes to our nervous system, how do we handle stress? How do we work under pressure? How do we diffuse conflicts within our company, within our project? When it comes to energy management, how do we work under pressure? What is our energy capacity to hold on to our project, to work on our business, to expand our business growth? In short, our hormones influence these 5 drivers, and these 5 drivers impact our income. So here are the key hormones that impact our income. The first one is the estrogen. The estrogen is what supports our sharpness. It supports our mental clarity, our mood stability. It also helps us to recall information, process information fast. It helps us with our focus. And when this fluctuates, that's when we start to have brain fog or memory loss. The second one is the progesterone. That's the one that helps us regulate our nervous system. It helps us to sleep well. It helps us regulate our mood. It also helps us to, calm down our nervous system. The third one is the testosterone. Testosterone is the driver of our life force. It's what gives us confidence. It's what allows us to follow our dreams. It brings more brilliance or more glow to our present. It helps us with our decision making. It helps us with speaking on stage, having a voice. It's what brings that audaciousness out of us. And without this, we won't have the motivation to be able to follow our dreams. So when you're really feeling that you're lacking the drive and the ambition, it's more because your testosterone is low. And our testosterone is such an important hormone, not only for men, it's also important for us as well, especially if we're planning to increase and protect our earning capacity. Our testosterone needs to be on point. Our testosterone helps us with our negotiating power. It helps us to ask for the rate that we want. It helps us to ask for that pay rise. It what helps us to set the boundaries that we need to thrive in life. So it's so important, especially if we want to have, we want to feel regulated, we want to have our nervous system regulated. Our testosterone is what's going to allow us to set those non-negotiable boundaries as well. So without this, you would just feel like everything is not contained. The fourth one is our dopamine. The dopamine is what drives our motivation. It also inspires our ambition. It what creates consistency, creates more movement, creates momentum. It's also what gets us to the finish line. And most of the time, this one gets depleted when we have chronic stress. This is when we start to lose our passion, we start to lose our drive, we start to procrastinate, and we don't show up for the things we truly want in life. And the fifth one is the cortisol. The cortisol is a stress hormone, and I'm talking about the stress hormone or experiencing the stress hormone in little dosage, because this is the hormone that allows us to feel more energized. It's the hormones that gets us to the finish line. It allows us to push through. It allows us to work under pressure. It sharpens our, our focus. It gives us this energy boost. And when this is declining, that's when we start to get into, or when we are overly stressed or overly worked out, that's when we start to get into burnout. So when we're pushing past the limit of our stress hormone, that's when we get into burnout. We start to, get into illness. We lose our sleep. We have more of an increased brain fog, and then we start to. And the fifth one is the cortisol. The cortisol is the stress hormone. This is the good stress hormone. This is the hormones that allows us to get to the finish line. It really boosts our energy. It allows us to really work on the pressure. Sometimes we can overly work on the pressure and then get into burnout. So when we get into burnout, that's when we start to have that, we start to lose our sleep. We start to have this increased brain fog. Then we get into this reactivity, or we get overly stressed. So pushing past our, our boundaries when it comes to working would increase our cortisol level. So the cortisol hormones are great, but in small doses, because we still want to be able to survive when we're at work or when we are going after our goals as well. So the stress hormone is so important. But if we overly work or we overly push our boundary, that's when we can start to, get into burnout. And it's important for us to be aware that from the age of 35 to 55, that's when our stress hormones start to increase. Also, that is when we start to go through perimenopause or menopause as well. And when I'm talking about our stress level increases, because we have a lot of responsibility. Some of us, we have, great jobs. We also have families to deal with. We have aging parents to deal with. We have our own household to deal with. We have our relationship to deal with. Some of us have, rent. We have mortgages. We have rent. We have investment, and we want to grow our income as well. So there's a lot of things that are going on for us that could impact, our stress level as well. And not to talk about the hormonal fluctuation that we might be experiencing as well, which don't only affect our income, but it also affects the structure of our life, which means our sleep habits start to be, interrupted. Then we have mood swing. We don't have, the tolerance to be able to do a lot of things. Then we are impatient with a lot of things. Our decisions are made quite quick, or some of us are even, slower with our decision making. Some of us are not motivated about life. Some of us are not showing up about life. So there's a lot of things in our bucket. That's why we need to educate ourselves on our hormones and how it impacts not just our life, but also our body, as well as our income, income generating capacity as well. So how does hormonal imbalance show up in our income? I'm going to use a real example here. One of my friends, she's 51 years old, and she just got laid off from her job. She got a letter from her company like 2 weeks ago, and she gave me a call. She's already going through perimenopause. We were already, talking about the symptoms of perimenopause, and she was, sharing her challenges with me, especially with her brain fog. She was having insomnia as well, and then she's having, she doesn't have a lot of energy. So when she got the letter, the first thing she did, she called me, and she was telling me about the whole thing, and she doesn't know how she's going to fit into a new career because she's 51. She's been able to build equity with this company for over 15 years, and she doesn't have to prove herself anymore because she's already risen to a really great position. She's a senior manager there, and her goal was to try and get into the director role. So now that I've made her redundant, she started to get into panic mode because she was like, no one is going to pay a 51-year-old salary that she used to get in her old salary, because now a lot of people are employing, younger, beautiful humans. They're employing younger people and even paying them less. So she has a lot of responsibility. She's built her life with, with that salary. She's now divorced, so that also increases the stress level that she's feeling. So she's built her life with that. She just bought a new house. She has 3 kids. She has a beautiful house. They travel a few times a year. She even went for ski this winter as well. So she has a lot of stress going on because she wasn't sure how she's going to be able to make that income, especially that she's going through perimenopause. She has brain fog. She suffering with severe insomnia. She doesn't have a lot of energy as well. So she's wondering, how is she going to be able to prove herself at this new company? How is she going to be able to survive the interview process? Because she doesn't even know if she's going to be able to survive the interview process. She doesn't know how she's going to keep the job. She doesn't know how much they're going to want from her. So she's now starting to doubt herself. So she's like, no one's going to pay me that big salary that I was earning before. So now I need to start to think of reducing my salary, perhaps selling my home or renting my home out. So she's really, really in panic mode. So that is what perimenopause or menopausal symptom can do when it comes to your income as well. So I'm going to use myself as an example as well. I'm going to be turning 50. And I remember that, last year I was thinking about how I'm going to strategize my business or how I'm going to tweak things a little bit because I don't have all the capacity to hold 23 people with life coaching. So I was like, I still want to make great income, but I don't feel like I want to work in that capacity I used to work last year. So this year I've repackaged my offer in a way that there's more value in my package, but I'm working with less people because I'm not about, increasing my rates or whatever. I want to create a container for the right people to help them get better result in less time. So I've re-strategized my container in a way that I can charge more, but also work with the less people because I don't really have a lot of energy to hold a lot of people's, all whatever might show up in the call as well. I don't have a lot of energy for that, but I also still want to be able to protect my, my earning power as well. So I'm re-strategizing my backend. I'm re-strategizing my backend. I'm creating an offer that suits my lifestyle as well as create value for the clients that I'm offering as well. So it's important that we think about that. And that's why I thought I should use my example as an example as how my hormones are impacting my decision making, as well as how it's impacting my client or my friend as well. So apart from me sharing my story as well as my friend's story as well, your hormonal imbalance also affects everyone in different ways. Some of us are staying in jobs that we don't like. We're complacent in our career. We're not negotiating our salary. We're not allowing ourselves to increase our rate or, take on more clients that truly satisfy us. A lot of us are in businesses that is not growing. Some of us don't know how to structure our business in a way that truly allows us to thrive. Some of us are people pleasers. Some of us, our boundaries are being overridden. Some of us are in relationships that we don't love as well. So our hormones affects us in different ways as possible. Apart from it impacting our income, it impacts our lives, it impacts our health, it impacts our bodies as well. So what do you need to do to fix your hormones? The first thing you need to do, which is what I teach all my clients, is you measure. You measure, measure, measure. So I want to invite you to go book an appointment with your gynecologist and have your hormones measured. It's so important that you know the level of hormone that you are working with because when we start to get into our 40s and 50s, our major hormones start to decline. So you need to do a test on your testosterone, your estrogen, and your progesterone and know your level of those hormones because if they are lower, you need to do what you need to do to top those up. And we have like HRT to help us touch those up. So if you need those, then you can ask your gynecologist to give you those so that you can top those up because these are the hormones that are going to help you increase and protect your earning power. The next thing I invite you to do is you need to monitor your cycle. So important you monitor your cycle because when we're on our period, in our menstrual cycle, that's when we have less energy. But when we're in a follicular stage or we're in a luteal stage of our cycle, that's when we have a lot more energy. And those are the times when we can make our decision, make a career shift, maybe we can access rest. That's when we can, have a higher income generating task. Maybe we're doing interviews for our jobs or interview for our business or working with clients. Those are the time we can really, really book those appointments. I love to book all of my clients during those times. I also like to book my, podcast interviews during those times as well. I love to do my sales calls during those times as well. When I'm in my period, I actually make sure those periods are blocked and I don't do anything. Maybe I work on the back end system of my business, but I don't do any income generating tasks during those times. So it's so important. So it's so important that you measure your cycle. There's a lot of tools that you can use to do that as well. But just by being in tune with your body, you can understand your cycle as well. Another thing I invite you to do is you monitor your sleep. How much sleep are you getting? You need at least 8 hours of sleep because your brain needs to heal. It needs to recuperate. And if you want to reduce, the intensity of your brain fog, you need to at least get 8 hours of sleep. There are a lot of apps out there that we can use to monitor our sleep. You can use the Apple Watch, you can use the Oura Ring as well. Those are beautiful tools that you can use to monitor your sleep because when you notice that you're not getting 8 hours of sleep, it's important that you allow yourself to switch off the phone way early. I like to switch off the phone and TV 1 hour in advance before I go to bed. And then I like to have something soothing like a nice tea or something. And I just read a book and I just doze off. Sometimes I like to meditate as well. Mostly I like to meditate. That allows me to sleep as well. So try and see how you can monitor your sleep and then do what you need to do to increase the level of sleep that you're getting as well. Another thing I want to invite you to do is you need to start to, you need to That's it. And the last thing I want to invite you to do is monitor your energy levels. So important that you monitor how you're feeling at the body level. Right now, I'm feeling a little bit exhausted, but I'm aware of it. So important. I'm aware of it. So when you're aware of how you're feeling at the body level, then you will be able to know how you can work with it. But if you don't understand the energy that you're working with, then it's difficult for you to really show up fully at your business or show up for your company as well. So the second thing I always invite all of my clients to do is they need to stabilize. They need to stabilize how they're feeling. Even if you're on HRT, you need to stabilize. These are the few things that you can do to stabilize yourself. The first thing is strength training. You need to get involved with strength training. I mean, cardio is amazing, but when we are going through perimenopause and menopause, what I would invite you to do, or what I would suggest that you do, is you do strength training and a little bit of cardio. So it's so important that you stabilize this aspect of your life, because it's so important. Your strength training is going to allow yourself to, create resilience, going to allow you to build bone density. Is also going to help you to increase the stability of your brain as well. Cardio is also great as well. Some of the cardios that I like to get engaged in is just walking with weight on my back. I just like to use those, and that allows me to really stabilize how I'm feeling at the body level. Protein, eat some protein and increasing your fiber. So important, because these would also help you stabilize your energy. Sleep is so important. Get your sleep up gear. Make sure you get about 8 hours of sleep. Even if you're on any of these hormones, it's so important that you work on this, because the hormones are just a band-aid if you don't allow yourself to stabilize how you're feeling at the body level. 3, stabilize your income around your energy. It's so important. We cannot be operating the way you used to be. It's just not possible. So if you want to keep and protect and grow your income, you need to stabilize your income or strategize your income around your energy. So important. And as I already said earlier, when you're monitoring your cycle, you're going to know when you are at peak performance. And that's the time when you need to be strategizing or implementing your income generating activities. When you know that you have a lot of energy, that's when you're supposed to be having your sales call, having your negotiation calls, having your sales calls, when you're having your podcast, when you're doing the bigger bulk of your stakeholder meetings, your director meeting, negotiating a salary, trying to do an interview for a job, trying to change for a job. Those are the times when you need to do those activities. So important. Bash your income generating activities, especially if you have your own business or you have your own company or you work for a company. Batch your income generating activities when you're peak of your energy, when you're top of your energy. So important that you batch it then, because when you put your income generating activities when you are low in energy, when you're on your period, then the chances of you showing up fully is going to be quite low. So it's so important that you monitor your cycle and also batch your income generating activities around the time when you have a lot more energy. As I said, your income generating activities, your sales calls, your training, your stakeholder meetings, your meeting with your team, your presentation, when you're applying for a job, when you're negotiating a new salary, when you're increasing your rate, when you're doing a podcast, all those activities need to be batched around the time when you have more energy. So important. And as a woman in her 40s, I want to invite you to start to think of alternative way to build more income. It's so important that we have an extra stream of income, especially if we are in our 40s. I remember when I was made redundant from my full-time job, I just delivered my second kid. I went back to work, and then I was told my position has disappeared. I was so devastated because I didn't know what I was going to do. I wasn't in perimenopause at the time, but my whole identity was wrapped in the job. So I knew that I had to do something. And that's when I started my coaching business. I went and learned a new skill, and I started my coaching business. Since then, I've been doing it. And that was 15 years ago. And now that I'm in my 40s, I'm still working in my coaching business. It's the best decision I've ever made. And it has already provided for my lifestyle. It helped me to pay my mortgage, have my car, travel around the world. It's really supporting my lifestyle. Now I'm trying to stream down things and scale things so that I can make more money. And now I'm bringing my intellectual asset to YouTube, which is what I'm doing right now, putting my intellectual asset on YouTube so I can create an extra stream of income with the asset. And not only by making money with the asset, I'm going to also be able to funnel in clients from YouTube into my high-end package, which is what I'm also doing as well. Instead of me having to go networking or do podcasts all the time, I want to be able to use YouTube to funnel people into my offer so that I can sell out my packages as well. So this is a beautiful way to create an extra stream of income. So having an extra stream of income, maybe you can start a coaching business. You can start as a consultant instead of being an employee. That's a great way to start as well. Maybe you can start a product. Maybe you can put your intellectual asset on YouTube. Maybe you can, create a product and sell it to your company. There's so many beautiful ways that you can start to create an extra stream of income. So I want to invite you to start to think of that. And if you want me to do a video on this, because I have like 25 or 27 ideas of, income stream that people like us that are in our 40s, we can get engaged with to help us increase our earning potential. So if you want more about that, let me know in the comments below and I'll do a video on that. So here's the real truth. Your hormones affects your performance. It affects your focus, it affects your confidence, it affects your tolerance, it affects your energy, and it affects your decision making. Your performance affects your income. It affects your leadership, it affects your negotiating power, it affects your pricing, it affects your promotion, it affects your bottom line. And your income affects your choices, affects your security, affects your investment capacity, affects your exit option, your freedom in relationship and career. So your hormones is not a barrier. When you understand it, you work with it. And then when you can work with it, you can do whatever it takes to help you protect your earning capacity. And if this conversation resonates with you, here's the truth. A lot of people are operating from the vibe when they were 25 years old. And you can't do that because our biology is changing, our hormones are changing. And that's why I created this free gift called the Midlife Earning Power Audit. It has the practical tools that you need to analyze your hormones and help you figure out the energy leak and also what you need to do to help you increase your earning power. So if you want to know more about that, all you need to do is go to the comments below and enter your name and email address through the link, and then that will be sent off to you. And if this conversation is what lights you up, we talk a lot about, earning capacity, confidence, midlife performance, financial independence on this channel. So if this interests you, all I want you to do is subscribe to my channel because I post daily videos around this topic. So if this lights you up, subscribe, and I can't wait to see you on my next video.